But figure you might as well see where this goes. The hardest part, it seems, was taking the first steps. You're still not sure if or how you're going to tell your family or your partner, but you'll deal with that when the time comes. Either way, you feel relieved that you managed to see this through instead of being paralyzed with worry over it. Even if nothing comes of it, you did something you said you would instead of flaking out and running away. You're emotionally exhausted when you get home and collapse into bed. You sleep better that night than you have in a week, and you're not sure if it is because you were so tired when you got home or if it's because of the therapist. Oh hey, they're not staticky anymore. Before, all three were staticky, and even when I was moderately depressed, the top one was still staticky, but they're not anymore. They're solid. I assume that's good? You were definitely still depressed. Well, no shit, Sherlock. But things are getting better. Whatever you're doing seems to be working. You really feel like you're taking steps to affect positive change in your life. You now seem to enjoy seeing your therapist. Between giving you a chance to talk things out and the CBT techniques that she shares with you, you find your sessions extremely helpful. I'm kind of confused why it's CBT techniques when that stands for controlled breathing techniques. So you're practicing your controlled breathing techniques. It is early on a Wednesday morning. Lately, you've developed a nasty habit of waking up 10 to 20 minutes before your alarm rings, and unfortunately, today is no exception. You lay in bed, each minute ticking closer and closer to wake up time and passing on a swelling wave of ever-encroaching dread. Soon then you would like your alarm blares with caustic inevitability. You frantically pound the snooze button and then retreat under your blankets, as if the warmth of your comforter can shield you from the passage of time. You almost always have difficulty rising from bed, but today that simple task seems nothing short of Herculean. After several snooze cycles, you decide that you just can't deal with work today. You're incapable of even arousing yourself from bed, let alone going into work and having to force yourself through a work day. Not to mention, you've snoozed so many times that it would be impossible to make it in on time now anyways. What do? Hop out of bed and start getting ready for work. You'll be late, but it's better than not going in at all. Head in to work, and at least you can leave early if it gets too unbearable. Call your boss and tell her you're sick. You won't be in today. Wait, there's no fourth option which says don't go in today, don't call your boss, and just lay there. I would just lay in bed and just not call at all. Yeah, right. Despite the fact that you know that it's your job and that you should go, you keep fighting yourself every step of the way. Every time you resolve to climb out of bed and just go, your body seems to get heavier and your head gets foggier and you find yourself unable to actually make yourself move. You grab your phone and dial your boss's phone number, hoping that it's early enough yet that he won't be there and you can just leave a message. Fortunately, after a couple of rings, a voicemail picks up, and you leave a message explaining that you're sick and won't be in today. Hang up the phone, you worry that perhaps your message sounds like a lame excuse. Well, it was. I hope your boss won't call or email you to follow up with this message, but for now, you're too foggy to do too much of any sort of thinking. Eventually, you fall back into a sleep that is both heavy and restless, with your kitten curled up at your feet, occasionally repositioning as you toss and turn. You wake up the next morning, short of feeling well rested, and you actually feel more stressed out. While it was definitely nice to get a break from work, you're now faced with a new problem you hadn't considered before. Still gotta go into work today. While you aren't having the same problems physically getting out of bed you were having yesterday, the prospect of having to face your boss after missing a day of work does not seem appealing in the slightest. You worry that your absence won't be seen as believable or legitimate, that your coworkers and boss will think you were just trying to half-assedly play hooky. Or worse, hooky? Nobody says that anymore. Just like deep in your cups. If you don't know what deep in your cups means, that means you've had a lot to drink, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're wasted. Like, it can be implied, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. So, or worse, you fear that someone will actually ask you what's wrong, being caught up in that instance and having to either make up a half-baked excuse, or worse, that they'll see right through you and know quickly as your mood matching the drizzly weather outside. You know that was an awkwardly worded sentence. You know that you have to go into work, but your fear of being perceived as either lazy or defective makes you regret yesterday's decisions to take the day off. Ultimately you feel worse for it. Oh, okay, so I didn't go to work and now they're staticky again. Now I'm back to moderately depressed. I'm in therapy with a good counselor. You're doing cognitive behavioral therapy techniques. Oh, and they're starting to help. Is that what they meant? Because CBT can stand for controlled breathing techniques too. So I guess that's why they said techniques after CBT, because it's not that one. So my decision was not the correct, quote unquote. I have a webcam now, but I didn't turn it on, so I looked at the camera and did air quotes like it was on, because I'm a fucking idiot. It's 2 a.m. on a Sunday. What? Whoa, slow down there. Wait, okay, so every single one, there was a picture in there that was kind of like fuzzy, but it wasn't really. And this one's just static. So I don't. Oh, okay. It's 2 a.m. on a Sunday, and you have to work in the morning. Wait, who works on Sunday? What kind of job do you have that you work on Sunday? Okay. You roll over to see the sickly green glow of the time displayed on your LED alarm clock and let out an exasperated sigh. You've been trying to fall asleep for over 3 hours now, to no avail. Every time your head hits the pillow, you're overcome with anxious thoughts that wrap yourself around each other. Worries about your job lead to worries about your future, lead to worries about your very identity, which lead to worries that you're unable to shake them off long enough to doze off. Your eyes won't even stay shut as your mind races through imagined scenarios going horribly wrong, which you promptly attribute to your general worthlessness. Your thoughts run too fast for you to come to a satisfying conclusion on any of them. Your room is completely silent. The silence has given way to a loud static noise rattling around on the inside of your head. Your heart beats loudly, and you worry it's beating a little too fast. You worry that if you focus too strongly on your racing heart, you'll freak yourself out hard enough that you'll have a heart attack. You have to be awake for work in a mere 8 hours, and you know that your work is so much worse on only having a few hours of sleep. What do I do? Whoa! I chose the wrong decision. Holy fuck. Whoa. So I can't do 5 of the 6 options. I can't force myself to go to sleep. I can't go to bed. It shouldn't be that hard. You're a funny game. I can't just close my eyes and let it happen. Why won't your thoughts back off for 5 seconds? I can't snap out of it. What's wrong with you? Why can't you stop stressing out for 5 seconds? And I can't I'm probably going to go into work tomorrow exhausted and fuck everything up and get fired. That was the one I would probably choose. Go to your computer. Sleep is clearly not happening no matter how long you lay there. Alright, I guess I gotta do that one. Hugs boson. Ha ha! That's a good one. Get out of bed and head to your desk. Laying in bed with nothing but your thoughts to keep you company makes you feel like you're going insane. The harshness of the light coming from your screen makes you squint as you turn it on, despite how often you find yourself in this exact situation. There have been so many nights lately like this. As you begin reading a news story, an online friend of yours IMs you. You're up late. Again, I see? Yeah, can't sleep. Again. Thinking too much again? Oh, thinking. You guessed it. Frowny face. Want to talk about it? You end up talking with Attic for quite some time about how you've been feeling. What I want to know is what this guy's screen name is. Lonely in Las Vegas? A classic Dear Abby naming scheme. He's always been easy to talk to about personal matters, and the added security of talking online helps. Being able to rethink what you say as you type it out and check it before you send it helps you gather your thoughts, and you find it less intimidating in a way to type it all into a prompt than say it out loud. I don't want to be that guy who thinks they can diagnose someone because I read a Wikipedia article, but it kind of sounds like you might have depression. You should talk to someone about that, like a doctor. You pause. Are you really that transparent? Or is it that you've gotten used to talking about your feelings at this point? Your insomnia makes you a little bit paranoid. That is, not being able to sleep for 4 hours is not insomnia, I hate to tell you. Point, it makes you a little paranoid, but you shake it off. We can do some research and see if there's a good doctor near you. It's not like you're going back to sleep anytime soon. Might as well do something while you're awake. Smiley face. Alright. It's starting to help. This is just a low night. I'm normally able to sleep and don't have depression, but thank you for your concern. I mean, that seems like the answer they wouldn't block out. Like you've been doing all the other ones. When people ask you what's wrong, you say you're fine. This is the one that's blanked out, crossed out. It's the same like line. You're like, no, I'm fine. I'm normally able to sleep. I'm just having it's just been one of those days, you know? So I would have chose one, because it seems like that's what it should be. No, that's okay. Actually, I've talked to someone about it. So I'm always deciding to see if I should do like what a depressed person would do. But then I go back to, no, I should do what I should do. I should do what I would do. And I would totally pick number one, but I can't pick it! No, that's okay. Okay? Just think about it, alright? There's nothing wrong with having depression. Depression. You wouldn't be ashamed to have bronchitis or something. There's no reason to be ashamed if it's your brain that's sick instead. That is a good point. Bravo, game maker. That is a good comparison. Tell him that you appreciate his concern and start sharing YouTube links with him instead. You idly continue to surf around online until you fall asleep at your desk, kitten curled up on your mouse pad next to you. The alarm sounds at 8 a.m. and you woke up in a haze of confusion before remembering how you ended up at your desk. You drive yourself to your shower grumpily. Oh, wasn't a good choice. I'm depressed. Interaction is exhausting. Alright. You're seeing a therapist even though you doubt anything she says could make you feel better. I'm gonna be disappointed if this does not end the way I think it might. It's a chilly Thursday night and you've just gotten off of work. This has felt like one of the longest days you've faced in recent memory. Even though nothing exceptional has happened, a ton of minor things kept going wrong, and coworkers have tried your patience throughout the day. You considered leaving work early, but the last thing you wanted to do was deal with your insufferable boss on top of everything. You're lost in thought on the commute home. I have a car, why am I taking the bus? And your feelings of frustration both with your life and the world around you build as you run into minor annoyances, like someone bumping into you really hard as they walk by. By the time you get home, you're exhausted and remember that these feelings were the ones you identified as a negative feedback loop with your therapist. These pent-up feelings aren't dying down and are eating at you. You open the front door and stare at your apartment. An overwhelmingly feeling of exhaustion overcomes you, and you feel like your energy levels are low enough that you're likely to settle into a single activity tonight. What do? Just shake it off. You're in a bad mood, something fun for the rest of the night. Right, my mood has not changed. You're just someone close to you. Don't burden anyone with your problems. Distract yourself. Yep. What you really want to do more than anything is just turn your brain off and just disappear for a while. You sink resignedly into your couch and start playing video games, but you can't seem to focus on what's happening on screen. You cycle through a few different games, but tonight everything seems either too tedious or too aggravating for you to play for more than a few minutes. A few of your online friends invite you to play a game with them, but the prospect of having to talk, let alone cooperate with other people, seems incredibly unpleasant. You decide to give the video games a rest for the evening, though you worry that you've offended your online friends and your next conversation will be awkward because of it, giving you yet another source of stress to weigh you down tonight. You boot up Netflix and cycle some of your favorite shows and movies that you'd flagged as wanting to come back to, but again, nothing really seems to be able to hold your attention. You feel that what can only be described as mentally fidgety. There's an unscratchable itch somewhere in your brain that is becoming increasingly hard to ignore. You send off a quick text to Alex, hoping that conversation will help pull you out of your head enough to relax, but you know she's in class tonight, and the chances of her replying are slim. You head into the kitchen for food and come out with not so much a sandwich as just peanut butter and 2 slices of bread. Yep. You pace anxiously around your apartment while you eat, irritated both by whatever this nerve-wracking feeling is and by your ability to just ignore it and unwind. A few more sandwiches and an overly long shower, able to settle down and head off to bed.